right, a warm welcome back there. As always, pictures from various spots about the things that happened today. It's the verdict on the nation's news leader, Channels Television. Thank you for staying with us all day, and we're still going to be here for much longer. First of all, we just want to put it out there, just as a cautionary note, any results of elections that you get from anywhere, particularly on social media or indeed any other type of media, isn't validated until a formal announcement is made by the Independent National Electoral Commission. We need to put that out there. Very important. So people already announcing that somebody won here or somebody won there and so on. All those results are not valid until authenticated by an announcement from the Independent National Electoral Commission. I'm sure Mr. Oyekomi, who is the Chief Press Secretary to the ANEC Chairman, can hear me in Abuja. And if I'm wrong, can correct me. You can just, for now, just nod if I'm absolutely correct and shake your head if I'm wrong. Thank you very much. So I am
so
correct.
that includes speculation as well.
No speculations allowed. And be very careful what you rebroadcast or send to people elsewhere as being results once they are not from the Independent National Electoral Commission. Now, Jide, before the break, of course, Mr. Oyekomi will still be coming back to you in a moment, but I want Jide to just round up with the stats.
Or shan't we just introduce who's sitting with us so that people
don't
wonder?
Please do the honors.
All right, we have an organizational strategist, Mr. Obinna Ebuono. Thanks for joining us. I will get to you shortly.
Just a moment. So, Jide.
Yes, we'll keep sticking to best practices, no speculation. We can only focus on what history tells us. And, you know, it reminds me of the words of former U.S. President John F. Kennedy. Before he was assassinated in 1963, he says, the only unchangeable certainty is that nothing is unchangeable and certain. So let's look at, finally, something that will surprise you, laddie. And that is, there are two states that in all of our history, listen carefully, two states that whoever wins these two states always becomes president. These are the same two states that Shehu Shagari won in 1979 to become president. In 1983, he had to win the same two states in Yota. 1999, President Obasanjo won these two states. 2003, for him to win his return election, he won the same two states. Jonathan won the same two states. President Buhari in 2015 won the same two states. In other words, there's no one that has become president of this nation without winning these two states. No speculation, just the facts.
You missed out President Yar'Adua.
Oh, President Yar'Adua. Sorry, 2007. Your favorite.
Very good. Good students. Good students.
Yeah. He won those same two states. So while a lot of Nigerians are really asking, what will happen? We can't speculate. We have to wait for our next results, but we can talk about history. These two states, Benue State and Kwara State, we've never had a president who has never won Benue and Kwara State. Don't forget, there's nothing that is unchangeable and nothing is certain. But we do know, based on history, no one has been declared president without winning Benue State and Kwara State. So let's look at what happened in these two states.
Now, Jide, we'll put you on pause. We've got to go to Mr. Oyekomi because I understand that he's much in demand, as we can all expect at this point in time. So, Rotimi, our final questions for you at this point. Again, we must go back to tomorrow and what is likely to transpire tomorrow and the day after. I did ask you a bit earlier, but I think we got interrupted while you were trying to answer. Again, you saw some of the updates from some of the things we had spoken about earlier. What will happen? What will happen to those places where we've had disruptions to the process? What do the rules say? And will this have any impact on how soon Nigerians can expect the final tally of results to come out of INEC?
Before I go to that, Ladi, very quickly, thank you very much for that important message about people not announcing results randomly, that they should wait for the commission to formally announce the result. That's very, very important. But don't forget, Ladi, that we also have several positive narratives in this election. Remember, a former president in 2015 had issues with the smart card reader. authenticating his fingerprint. But the same former president voted, and I haven't had any of the presidential candidates, 73 of them, having any issues with the card reader. So in many places, in Ekpe, I saw some pictures of the Lagos State governor voting. We didn't hear any issues in Ekpe. So even in Lagos, where we had that unfortunate incident in Agor Palace, there are several other areas in Lagos where elections went very well, and we didn't have issues. So I think to a large extent, we also have areas where we should be grateful to God for the successful outing of this election. If you disrupt the electoral process, history has shown that you are just wasting your time, because the commission would make a decision and go back to that place to conduct the election, right? Now, what the rule says is that if, for instance, the election did not take place in a particular place, and there is the margin of lead between the person who is in front and the runner-up is less than the total number of registered voters in those places where election did not take place, then, of course, we have to go back there. You cannot make a declaration. But essentially, if you unleash violence in a place and you don't allow the voting process to continue, the commission reserves the right to go back there and conduct the election again. However, of course, it will be at a cost to the country, because it is your money, my money, that is going to be spent on remobilizing, on equipment, on ballot papers, on all the things that we need to now put in place to conduct the election again. That is why there should be consequences for anybody or any group that disrupts election in this manner.
How about the results question I asked? How will this impact on how we get the final tally of results?
Well, no, come again. I didn't quite get that.
I said, with all this, with the disruptions, I understand the narrative that you've tried to paint, that it's a mixed bag, and therefore it's not only been negative, there are also been positives. But what I'm saying is that with those disruptions and what you say is likely to happen about going back, will this have some kind of impact on how quickly Nigerians can expect the final results for this election?
It depends. If it's going to have a major impact on the result, because there are rules about declaration of results and there are rules about determining the winner. If these disruptions are going to affect the calculation of these things, the commission will go back and conduct that election in those places where they were disrupted. Okay,
so I don't know if you guys have any...
No, I think he's in high demand, so I think we need to let him
All
go.
Right, Chief Press Secretary to the INEC Chairman, Rotimi Oyekomi, it's always our pleasure to have you with us. Thank you for honoring our invitation every time we ask. Thank you so much today.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much. And so, Jide, back to you and the Benue-Kwara issue, the importance of these two states.
Again, it's all history. It's not speculation. You might want to ask, why does Benue and Kwara consistently produce who becomes president? And that's because, let's look at Benue, the food basket of the nation. There's a lot of, you can use it if the nation were going to have a thermometer, that will be Benue. Again, because a lot of expenditure families make is on food. So within Benue, you have a mixture of various tribes, ethnic groups, that really reflects what is happening in Nigeria. Same thing, if you look at Kwara, just a bit above the southwestern region, not too far from the northwestern region. So clearly you have Kwara State that potentially shares the pulse of the southwest and shares the pulse of the northwest. You have Benue State that pretty much shares the pulse of a lot of what is going on in Nigeria, especially when it comes to food trade. So clearly what we've seen is since 1979, Benue and Kwara State, if you were to not want to conduct a poll, if you just wanted to ask how we started, mirror, mirror on the wall, who will become Nigeria's next president? Your best bet would be to look at the results of Benue and Kwara. But again, that is just for the history books. Only two things will happen. It's either Benue and Kwara continue with this trend, or history becomes shattered.
Okay, I'm not going to burst your bubble because I know because we had another set of analysis, and they said, oh, we should look at the number of PVCs collected by state, and that will tell us. And some of the states here were not there, but let me allow you, because you know when two statisticians get together.
we could also look at the number of PVCs collected by states. We've got 72.7 million PVCs, but here's the trick. Half of those PVCs are only in 12 states, Lagos, Oyo, Rivers, Delta, in the southeast, Anambra State. So you need to look at what is going on in Anambra State. In the northwest, Kano, Kaduna, Katsina. In the north central, Benue, Plateau, Niger State. And in the northeast, Bauchi State. Those are the 12 states that control half of the PVCs. So if you don't like Benue, if you do not like Kwara, then look at the results that will come out from those 12 states that control half of the PVCs.
But since we like them all, we'll look at all of them.
You can look at them all. But again, all states are important. All states are important. And we need to ensure that the results come out and we have violent-free elections. You know, a friend of mine says that jollof rice is best enjoyed with dodo. Elections are best enjoyed when there's no violence.
Indeed, indeed. A good way to thank you very much, Jide, for bringing us this analysis today. As always, punchy, straight to the point. Thank you very much for the work on this segment tonight. Thank you very much, Jide. And now coming to you, Obinna Egbuonu. I hate to go back, and I don't want to go back, but what was did you vote today?
Yeah, I did.
What was your voting experience like and where?
I voted at a polling unit at Bagada, where I live. And the officials came on time, but accreditation didn't start until past 11.
Why?
I think it has to do with probably adequate training for the support staff of INEC, making them understand what they ought to do. And it calls to mind or question our level of preparedness for elections and getting the proper people, the right people to do the job at hand. So because of that, we were dragging between getting to register, getting to get accredited, and it got to a point they said the card reader was not working and they had to go get them something to charge. So when the voting started, we had quite a large turnout in that center, 320-something people. But eventually, voting commenced and it went very well.
Okay, thank you for that. I think we can go to Adamawa State now, where I understand Larry Lasisi is again on standby to give us an update on the situation there. Larry.
Well, here in Adamawa, everything appears to have gone largely smoothly. The elections commenced very early, before 6 in most, well, before 7, I beg your pardon, in most places. Ad hoc staff of the Independent National Electoral Commission had arrived and started setting up. And in most places at 8 o'clock, the process commenced. We've had just some issues of the card readers not working in some places, a few places. Where I was in Ajia 012 polling unit, they had 2 card readers there. One developed a problem and they said they sent back to get another one, but the one that was working kept working and the process moved along nicely. There were also isolated cases of late arrival of materials in some places, but that didn't affect the conduct of the elections largely, and the voting collation and the results were announced. They announced them on time, largely across the state, so most results are in almost everywhere. Of interest, I'm sure you remember, was the issue of security. Now, largely across the state, there was very clear, peaceful conduct, no incidents at all. And if you remember, there was this issue of an attempted attack in Madagali local government last month, which led the Independent Electoral Commission to take special measures in that local government in 3 communities where they pulled all the polling units to one center. Well, the report we have is that at that center, the elections went peacefully. There were no incidents, and so it paid off that the commission took that step to get that area under control and to make sure that people could vote in peace. So largely, we are expecting results to be coming in now in Yolan. That is the situation here in Adamawa State.
All right, thanks a lot, Lanre, for that, giving us that analysis there, telling us, some card readers were not working, and then the one that was working continued to work. Interesting to see the way it has played out there in Adamawa State. But let me tell you, our political correspondent has been looking at the figures and the facts. I know we just had Jide looking at some figures, but you know what it's like when you're counting and collating his figures all the way. And he was looking at those figures behind today's contest. And he's done something like a virtual trip to the seat of power. So let's travel now with Shehu virtually and see what Shehu Akimbaloye has in store for us.
Fellow Nigerians,